It's something to look forward to, it's something to work for, it's something to enjoy, it's something to go home and tell everybody else about.
It's a great influence that this internationally respected orchestra has come to play here at Penrice. It just pushes your playing up just that one more level, you know.
We are the orchestra of the South and South West. We cover 10,000 square miles, and for us it's really important that we cover the whole of our region. To maximise our impact, we come down en masse with lots of different ensembles so that we can work across the whole of the county in one go.
I'm Chris Avison and I'm the principal trumpet. Being down in Cornwall offers us the opportunity to come down and actually perform as a section a bit more. It's really different playing brass ensemble music. Kind of find out what you can do in those situations where you normally don't have to do it.
On Wednesday we actually went along to one of the local brass bands. Myself and Chris played solos with them and we rehearsed some pieces they knew already. That was great, really, really fun. A lot of the brass players in the orchestra have come from a brass band background, so it was really nice to go back to that and do some playing.
My name's Tony Moore, I'm the manager of the Cornwall Music Education Hub. We work with schools and colleges to support all the children and young people across Cornwall to access quality music activities. Schools are very excited when they hear that BSO are going to be coming down and they're going to have the opportunity of having these world-class musicians actually visiting their school.
The Music Service Trust is the independent music service for Cornwall that employs over 110 music teachers. We've partnered together on many projects, also facilitating some of the musicians from BSO coming to local schools, but very proudly we're working on a project called In at the Deep End. We've noticed through our data that over the last 2 to 3 years the instruments being taken up, bassoon, tuba, trombone, are starting to drop off a little bit, so we thought it would be a really useful exercise to have a live music experience where we could take those instruments around to demonstrate them to youngsters within Cornish schools.
We just had the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra in to help us improve the suite that we're playing in our orchestra. And after that, I had a masterclass with Philippa, who plays the cello for the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra. It was such a massive help in order to help me improve my technique, things like my bowing and my finger technique and stuff like that. It was really inspirational for me, you know, because I want to become like these players that play in an orchestra, and it's so amazing just to have them there and playing along with you.
Really enjoyed going into Penrice Academy. Violin cellists were fantastic, the orchestra were really, really good, and so we could instantly get onto articulation, phrasing, and I felt at the end of it, you know, it was a really good result and satisfying for us too.
So we brought in a string quartet from the BSO because our AS group are studying that transition from classical to romantic music. And so I invited the string quartet just to nominate 2 works that would demonstrate that journey, because then the students were able to really hear exactly how music had kind of developed in that time. So much of the analysis part of A-level music can be quite a dry exercise. If you bring live players in, you can hear one part at a time, or combine 2 parts, or ask them to change something. It becomes a kind of dynamic process.
This morning we had the orchestra come in. I enjoy playing marimba because I enjoy bashing the keys of the beaters. Yeah, and I like the sound.
BSO Bash goes into schools and teaches about using percussion. A lot of schools have lots of tuned and untuned percussion, but the teachers don't necessarily know how to use them.
The students get an enormous amount from an activity like this. They went away very inspired. It gives them an experience that they can't get anywhere else.
There are 2 BSO associates based in Cornwall, and I think we've already developed over the last 2 years quite strong networks across the various communities. But this week has been a fantastic opportunity for us to both to strengthen existing networks, but also go to new places and meet new people and new groups. And this afternoon I'm working at the Hall for Cornwall with a community group of people who've come from all over Cornwall to experience live music making.
Partnership work is essential to make our residency a success. So we work with our partner Trinity Laban to give student opportunities to work with our players. We work in partnership with an orchestra in Japan, so we've been able to bring one of their composers over to be our composer in residence, as well as our associates who live in other counties, so bringing different ideas all together into the mix to create a great Cornish cultural community.
I'm here today to explore the idea of family orchestra, and for me that's a really interesting project and journey and idea. How you bring people, from the age of 5 till 75 together with lots of different experiences, and to be able to include them in valuable, interesting music making without them all having to have the similar kind of level of skills.
I think it's important for the orchestra to come down and do this workshop because it gives the opportunity to everyone to enjoy music, to make music.
Open School Orchestras are a project that started by Open Up Music in Bristol, and it's a way of getting inclusive music much more embedded in schools. Today the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra have come down to do a workshop with 2 of our Open School Orchestras, and it's been fantastic to have the chance to play with some professionals and for them to have a performing opportunity as well. I could see in their faces that they were wowed. It had quite a different effect from just playing as we do each week in the schools, and particularly the autistic students that I know. They started coming alive. By the end of it, they were looking at each other, interacting, smiling and laughing in a way that I hadn't seen happen before. So it had quite an emotional impact on some of them as well.
Community events are very, very important to the work of the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra. We try to connect with communities that don't necessarily have professional musicians or professional ensembles coming down. This week we've brought back the very popular Rusty Musicians event with the full Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra of about 55 musicians, joining forces with 60 local amateur musicians.
Many years ago, playing the violin in a professional orchestra was my profession. Once you've changed profession and you've left it alone, you long for the good days to play with quality players and decent repertoire and at a standard that is really enjoyable for the listener and for yourself. And I find that being here with quality players, it reminds me of all the things I've forgotten in recent years, and it brings me back to life again.
When the residency finishes, it's very important that we maintain the links with the communities we've been working in. It's not just about us turning up for 1 week and then going away. So we look to maintain links throughout the year.
The visits by the BSO provide a spark to the schools and to the young players and the would-be players, which the Hub is then able to build on in order to increase their momentum, maintain their engagement, and to just encourage them to have a lifelong love of music.
From the BSO coming in, giving all of these wonderful opportunities will mean that we can then take the interest and the aspiration of those youngsters further forward by providing the tuition within the schools.
Having a long-term link with the BSO is really useful because it can spark off new activities and enthusiasm, foster a bit more of a musical community.
Personally, I like to see that, that there is some kind of continuance and hope that there will be young people who will take up the instrument that I took up with the same kind of enthusiasm.
It's also those places like the Rusty Returners, getting all those amateur musicians playing next to world-class orchestral players is an opportunity that will only benefit their amateur orchestra at the next rehearsal and the rehearsal after that and at their next concert. So there's a long-term impact where I think we'll be hearing the echoes of the Bournemouth visit for months, maybe years after they've been.
players see it as a great opportunity to develop their skills. It's also a great opportunity for our admin team at BSO Participate to develop their skills, and some of those have included them taking their Arts Award.
This residency is forming part of my Gold Arts Award. I've learnt loads of new skills and I've got loads of new experience that I can bring back into my work at BSO.
I'd like to think that Arts Council England will see the outcomes of the projects such as the residency and realise that their investment is worthwhile.
Please consider continuing funding this amazing project, because otherwise children in schools such as ours will not get this experience, will not be enthused, and you won't get a future generation of musicians. That's the basic bottom line.
Just want to say thank you very much to them for coming down.